So while we are waiting for people to join us, we will get started. I again am Allison Farrell, and thank you for joining us for today. We have some exciting announcements about scheduling that we are so pleased to share with you. So now I am going to turn it over in just a second to Becki, who's one of our senior product managers, and she's going to lead us through the content today. But if you have a question, definitely sit it in the chat or in the Q&A panel. There will be time to go through questions at the end, but please send them as they come up and we will get to them. But Becki, are you ready to go ahead and start the presentation?
Yes, absolutely. Let's do that.
One more logistic note, we are recording this, so we will send that out to you afterwards. If you miss something or if you've got to hop off early, we will send out the recording.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Allison. Okay, well, hi everyone. Thank you so much for making time to log in today. We're going to talk about scheduling of program packages. And this has been a request from so many of you over many years. And so we're really excited to show this off today. I do want to make sure to mention to all of you that if you are really interested in some of the details of what we show off today, you can log in to your Daxko Operations training site. We have granted access for all associations to test drive this functionality on your training site until February 21st of next year. So you will have the ability to go set this up and see how it functions using your data. Our user guide was in last week's release, so you can navigate to our product blog, or if you have any issues at all finding the user guide, you can contact support@daxko.com. Okay, so when we think about making sure that scheduling is working, I can tell you the heart of this team on working on this project, and I think the heart for so many of of your hearts as well, is to make sure that we are giving members the absolute best experience. We are leaning in as heavily as we can into modernizing this member experience, and we know so many times that members want to have control of what their schedule will be and see all of the information up front before they make a purchase. And so our goal for this project is to make sure that we are giving all of the tools to our members so that they can plan, and making sure that it isn't impossible to find an appointment on the books. I know for me, many years ago, I signed up for one-on-one swim lessons. This was probably like 10 years ago, and I signed up with a local health and wellness club, and I don't think I got a call back for about 3 months. And I'm sure it probably was written on a piece of paper somewhere, and there was every intention to get it scheduled with me. But certainly it was difficult to make sure that I had a time on the schedule and I knew which instructor was going to be meeting with me. So we want to modernize this experience for your members and also make this seamless for you as staff. This is an area I know in researching this with so many of you. So thank you. I can see so many of you that are logged in today. You've given me so much of your time as we've researched this solution. This is an area where efficiency can be difficult and seamless communication is hard to come by. So those are all major focuses for us. Let's go over the agenda of what we'll cover today. We're going to start out by talking about program packages. So I mentioned we're talking about scheduling of program packages, but we may have some individuals on the call that are not currently using program package functionality. So I'll make sure to cover some of that with you. We're also going to be focused on the member experience, and then we'll lead into the staff experience. That's really the bulk of what we're going to talk about today, making sure that you know what your members would see, what your personal trainers or instructors might see, and also what maybe a manager on duty or someone at the Welcome Center, what they might be able to see in Daxko Operations. We'll also talk a little bit about some of the things that will be coming soon, some of the things that we're researching. We would love, if some of those items are interesting to you, for you to raise a hand and let us know how we could research more with you and learn about your association's needs. And then we're also going to, of course, take time for questions and answers. In fact, if you want to send over questions along the way, you are more than welcome to use that Q&A feature to send over those questions. And then we'll be pausing several times throughout this webinar today to make sure that we get to as many of those questions as possible. All right, let's first talk about program packages. When we talk about scheduling, scheduling is new functionality in Daxko operations. Not all associations might be using that additional add on, but if you do have scheduling, that is going to cover many things, not just program packages. So we do have scheduling available for the join experience. So let's say a member joins online or in house, we have the ability to book an orientation. So those new member orientations that are so critical to making sure that a member understands what your association offers, we want to prompt them as early as possible at the joint experience to book those. We also have schedule a visit, which many associations are currently using to make sure that you can control capacity and keep social distancing standards in place for your state, and also making sure that the member knows when they have a time slot that is available for them to show up and maybe use the part of the facility that they would like to use. All of that is scheduling. So that schedule a visit part is currently in beta access. So you actually have access to that on your live site if you're not already using it. However, as I mentioned before, program packages is what we have added into that suite of scheduling functionality. So program packages in Daxko operations is in the programs module. It's very similar to other programs that you might set up. However, instead of giving a specific date or date range that someone is signing up for, like you would maybe for a youth sport, you're actually purchasing a specific quantity and duration. So, this is an example that I'm using. You might offer personal training. Maybe you have different levels, and maybe you do 60 minutes versus 120 or 30-minute sessions that are also available. And so you can sign up for personal training. You can purchase one all the way up to 40, and you receive the pricing for that item. You do have the ability to price it differently for members versus non members. But this package functionality, whether or not you have scheduling, does not matter. All associations would have access to this in Daxco operations. So you can go in and create all of those packages and sell them in house or online or both if you choose, and you can allow members to purchase these packages. And I think we have well over 350 associations, maybe just shy of 400 associations already using program package functionality. And so this scheduling offer is going to be in addition to the scheduling process. So we'll go through several examples. I'm actually going to demo today. So thank you for your patience as I get this set up. I just think it makes the most sense for us to go through several scenarios so that you can see what this would look like for a member, what it would look like for staff. So let's take a look at that. Give me just one moment here. Okay, great. So we are going to log into Daxco Operations. I'm using a test client today, so you'll probably see some interesting names. I think Olaf is on here and Queen Elsa, but we're going to talk about the Odom family for this first example. So this is Samantha Odom. She is a parent, and she has a daughter named Olivia. And Olivia is a child that absolutely loves to be with friends during the summer. However, last summer, Olivia experienced a lot of anxiety around the water, and specifically struggled with swimming and would get very anxious at different times. And so Samantha, in leading up, getting ready for maybe a Christmas gift, is going to make sure she has some one-on-one lessons so that she can practice her swim safety and maybe build some confidence going into this summer. So let's take a look first. What we're going to do, we're actually going to log in and look at this experience for Samantha. So I'm going to use the Daxko Operations training site, and this is a handy tip. You can do this anytime. So if you are wanting to set up some test data and you want to use a member in the system, you absolutely can go to online settings and log in as that individual. And that is really helpful for you to be able to reproduce what the member experience would be like. So we're just going to log in as Samantha here. Oops, sorry. Important to capture the entire URL. Let's go in and look at this experience for Samantha. Okay, so Samantha is going to be logged in. Now, Samantha is probably a busy parent. She probably works all day and she's had the intention for the last 3 weeks to call somebody at the association to find out what the options are for signing up her daughter, Olivia, for her swim lessons. And she just keeps forgetting the day gets really busy. And so she always thinks of it probably right before she goes to bed at night. She thinks about, oh gosh, I meant to do that today. So she gets the thought today that she wants to either on her laptop or even her phone, which I'll show you that experience as well in just a moment. She wants to log in and quickly be able to see if she can do all of this on her own online without having to call someone, since she already has proven that it's difficult for her to remember that step every day. So, a handy tool that I use a lot, you can do this. I use the Chrome browser, but you can often go to View and look at this using something called Developer Tools. So, if you look at this with Developer Tools, what's neat is that you'll see in the upper right hand corner, you have the ability to switch between which device you're seeing. So, am I looking at this in full screen or am I looking at this on a mobile device? And so, this is really handy to know what your members are seeing. And we can look at this. We'll do a little bit in this phone view so you can see that, but then also we'll show this in the full web view as well. So Samantha is logged in and she is going to navigate to private swim. It's what she's wanting to sign up for. And her daughter's 7, so this is perfect. Private swim lessons. She can select that item and read some details about it and read the different package offerings that are available along with pricing to begin registering. She'll select Olivia as the individual that's registering, and we'll select here as well the number of sessions. So maybe she wants to gift for Christmas a package of 10 of these sessions. Okay, immediately we are going to enter the scheduling experience. So I've selected the package that I'm purchasing, and we can pay as well, but in between those experiences, we need to show off the schedule. The reason that we're showing this prior to purchase is that in our early testing and interviews, we found that many people would not be comfortable signing up and paying until they knew that there was an instructor or multiple instructors available for the time of day that works for them. So we will see an example here. We'll just choose the afternoon is probably what works best. And it looks like Claire has some availability that works well with Samantha's schedule. So she's easily able to select a time and to book that appointment. Now I'll use developer tools just to switch back here so you can see this full screen view. So you can see that it works just as well in that full screen layout. So I can choose different days out in the future. Maybe I want to wait till next week and I can book my first appointment. Once that's booked, you have the ability to continue to book additional appointments. So maybe now I want to go to appointment number 2. So maybe that very next Thursday, I want to go ahead. I can see Claire's available then as well. We can stay consistent with that instructor and we can book appointment number 2. However, maybe I'm not quite ready with my schedule to book all 10 of these right now, and that's totally fine. You don't have to book any of them as a member. We let you book as many as you would like, but you do have the ability to say, I'll book the other 8 of those, I'll book those later. Once that's done, we're able to see all of our pending appointments, give those a once over, make sure that is what we intended to book. We can edit anything if we need to at that point, or we can proceed to checkout. So still going through that cart process. So now we'll see how much is due today. We can always go back to view and edit our pending appointments. It does say pending because until the purchase is made, those appointments are not finalized. However, if someone else is logged in and they're trying to book an appointment, those will be reserved until this purchase is made. So we'll go ahead and finish the purchase experience. We'll select our billing method on file and pay. Now, this is not the end, right? We know that even after you book several sessions, I still have 8 sessions that are totally unbooked. Plus, as we all know, life is always changing and things come up and our schedule changes often. And so we still have the ability through my account to navigate to appointments. Maybe Samantha realizes there's a conflict with one of the appointments that she's booked. So she can go and see all appointments that are booked. She can edit those existing appointments. She can also cancel an appointment. The rule there is it has to be more than 24 hours out. So I could not book something that, let's say, is tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. because it's already Thursday at 2. So I would not be able to cancel that. But if it is more than 24 hours in advance, she can cancel this right from her online account. The great news is that when she does book appointments, it notifies her of that confirmation via email and also notifies the trainer that's been selected. So we're wanting to make sure that communication is very cohesive. That trainer is going to get an email, and so is Samantha, letting her know when that appointment is booked. So we're wanting to make sure that process is removing any of the manual work that so many of you are having to do right now, where you're sending emails or maybe trying to give everybody a phone call the day before, and we'll do this for them. Also, Samantha will get a reminder about 24 hours before to let her know that her appointment is tomorrow so that she doesn't forget. I actually love those reminders. I get those reminders a lot, and oftentimes I've forgotten. So, this is a great way for us to have good member experience and a good communication as well. So I'm going to take a second here and pause. I do have a couple of questions. So let me pause for just a moment and take a look and make sure there's nothing we need to cover on the member experience before we go on to the staff experience. Okay, so let me try to answer a few of these. So, one of the first questions that a couple of you sent over was, do we have the option to select different times? Yes, existing program package functionality allows you to select from various times that are available, as well as various quantities. Currently, that goes up to a quantity of 50. We will soon be increasing that to a quantity of 100. We had several associations reach out about having some higher level of quantity packages. So we'll make that available very soon. And we also got questions around how do they change their appointment. So they can do it through the online account actually here on this page, or they have the ability to do that from the confirmation email itself. So there's a quick link for them in that confirmation email to change that. We are going to cover staff schedules here in just a moment, so we will be sure to get to that on how staff members set their schedules, or maybe how a director over several staff members sets the schedule for them. It is absolutely possible to pay for a package without scheduling everything. So if someone just isn't sure yet, they know they want to purchase, but they just aren't sure yet, or they might have some unique needs, they absolutely can go ahead and purchase without booking any of their individual sessions. Several things that are coming up that we will talk about. These are things that are planned for the future. Would be multiple bookings. So maybe you offer like a semi-private personal training where multiple people can book. That will be an option that's available. We are currently working on that. So when we get to that coming soon, I would love to talk more about that. Also, we had a couple of questions around room reservations, so we'll dig into more of that as well at that time. Calendar view, we're going to take a look at that as well. We had a question about, does the system confirm that any subsequent appointments are after a previous appointment? So if I book one appointment next week on Thursday, can I continue to book it for next Wednesday, which would be before that? We actually are not numbering these sequentially per se. The redemptions are sequential. So once I redeem it, we know that that item has been redeemed, but the schedule itself is very flexible. So if someone books and they book something several weeks out and then they decide as a member, actually, I'd really like to get started next week, we will absolutely let them do that. We want to make sure, again, to lean into that member experience to make sure that if they feel a need to book something prior to what they've already booked, if a time is available, we will let them do that. The length of time for those appointments being saved is 30 minutes, like everything else in our card experience online. So we will reserve that appointment. And if someone were to go completely idle for 30 minutes, we'll then release those appointments. They would need to start over. Okay, great. These are all great questions. So I think let's jump into, I think I got as many as I could of the member experience. So let me jump forward to the staff experience, and then we will continue to answer questions throughout. Those are really great questions. I love so many questions. That helps us know what you're most interested in. Okay, so let's next talk about Jenny. Now, Jenny is actually a personal trainer for us, and Jenny is this awesome, unique person on our team because her unique specialty is to help our active older adults community. So whether they've recently had a surgery or a fall or an injury, Jenny specializes, it's really her heart to help those individuals get back to their baseline, make sure that they can live a happy and healthy life. And she just really loves that community. So we know that while we talked about Samantha a moment ago, and Samantha loves to use her mobile device and she's thinking of things at like 11 p.m. at night right before she goes to bed, we might have Teresa, who's one of our other members. She is in the active older adults community and she's just not totally sure what she's supposed to do online. And she would feel more comfortable if Jenny, who she's worked with for some time, could help her purchase a package. So let's take a look at what the experience would be for Jenny. So Jenny would look up Teresa in Daxko Operations. And we would be able to see Teresa's membership information page and sign her up. Just like we did online as Samantha, we can do this as staff members. So we'll register for this program. We're actually going to select personal training this time, not private swim. And there is a specific offering that works really well. So Teresa is going to select active older adults one-on-one PT. So this process that Jenny is handling for her, she'll make sure to select the right package and continue with the registration. She's going to select 12 sessions. And you'll see that she has almost the exact same experience. So she's able to quickly navigate through the availability. She's going to be looking for her availability. So Jenny is going to select her own name so that she can see only her availability, since this is one of her clients that she works with. You
Hey,
can see
Becki.
this quickly.
This is Patrick. Your screen got frozen there for a little bit, so we haven't seen the staff part yet. Oh,
Oh,
there it goes.
thank you so much.
Apparently me talking snapped it out of its slumber. So we can see you clicking around now. So you're in
Yep, let's go
search
back.
and you're in the
Thank you
name
so
field
much.
about the search.
Okay, sorry about that, everyone. So we will look up Teresa here. And again, this is where Jenny is going to start the registration process. My apologies. We will select personal training. And we have this active older adult. So this is our one-on-one package. And so Jenny can sign up her client, who is Teresa in this scenario, and she wants to select 12 sessions. So you can see this is going to be the exact same layout that we would see if we were a member online. It's going to be very similar. The only difference is that because Jenny is booking one of her clients, she probably wants to limit availability down to just her availability. So we have this message, Jenny's not available. You can see the dates and times are going to be bolded for times that Jenny is available. So we'll move forward and select this available time. So we can book appointment number 1. That appointment in the member and the staff experience will have this red dot. And that's not to say you can't book more. Maybe someone's just really excited and wants to book 2 back-to-back sessions. They could do that. But we do display this red dot just to communicate with them that they already have something booked. So we'll select another day and time and book appointment number 2. So it's really quick for Jenny to book this on behalf of Teresa and make sure that she has everything booked for these sessions. Once she's done, again, for staff, you don't have to book any appointments, but once you're done booking at any time, you could just say, we'll book the rest of these later, and then proceed to checkout. The only difference is that just like any other in-house purchase, the registration will then be added and you can go make a payment through the account balance page. So we'll go ahead and make sure to make our payment today. So that's what that experience would be for Jenny. We are still going to send a notification email to the member and for the instructor as well. So that can be a good notification and make sure that communication is clear. And then in membership information, beneath appointments, we can see at any time how many appointments we have booked, and we can continue those bookings, or we can see the details of what's already booked, cancel those, or edit those. And staff are not limited the way that members are online. Staff are not limited to canceling those to 24 hours. So those can be canceled right up until the day of, in case something comes up and there's a legitimate reason for Teresa to need to reschedule. All right, so now that I threw everybody off with my technical difficulties, it wasn't Zoom. I can't even blame it. It was me. Let me take a look at questions and see if there's anything else coming up. We have questions around revenue recognition. That will continue to happen the exact same way it does today with program packages. So nothing has changed with the scheduling element. It will happen exactly as it does in program packages. And we have an extensive user guide on program packages. If you'd like to take a look at that, just reach out to our support team, or you can search for program packages on the product blog. Several questions around automatic drafting. That's actually something that we are researching. And so I will get to that when we get to coming soon. I'm excited to talk to all of you about that because we are anxious to learn. Lori had a question about if an appointment's canceled, like let's say the appointment time is in the past. And so, are we able to reschedule that? We do not automatically redeem those items at the time that it's delivered. So we still rely on all of you saying, yes, I delivered this session, because we know that things do come up. Maybe it's 2:00 and Becky's running way late. It's already 2:28. She's not here for her session. We are not going to mark that as redeemed. We still let you as your instructors or your team redeem those items. Okay, lots of questions around the calendar, so we'll take a look at that as well. Okay, thank you. Keep sending those over. And I will go ahead and address a couple of these now. So the next trainer that we're going to talk about is Tyson. And I'm actually going to log in as Tyson. So I'm going to pause my screen, but this time I will start it back. And we are going to look at what this experience would be for Tyson. He is one of our trainers, and he actually his specialty is working with athletes, people that are really elite trainers, people that are elite athletes and are really doing that higher level of personal training, essentially something I wouldn't be able to participate in. So let's take a look at that process for Tyson. So I'm going to share my screen again. I think it's sharing just fine. So what we're going to do is I've logged in now as Tyson, and Tyson is able to set his own schedule. So if Tyson clicks on his name, exactly where the name exists already in Daxko Operations, you'll notice that this page has some differences. We have the ability to add some information about Tyson, some certifications, his role, a biography about him, but he also has the ability to manage his instructor schedule. Now we are looking for feedback on how we can use this information in the future. We know many of you like to have maybe a web page or somewhere that someone's able to read about their trainer before they choose someone. So this could be very handy in that. So we're looking for some feedback on how we could help with ways to use this. But from here, we can go to Manage Instructor Schedule, and we see that we've created Tyson's schedule. He can edit his availability at any time. So he has the ability to enter or make any changes. We also added this ability for all branch hours. We had several associations that said many of our trainers, specifically in the area of personal training, they like to set their hours as really anytime we're open, they're willing to do a session. So they will leave their hours similar to the branch hours and then show up to make sure if someone books with them that they're providing that personal training session. They have the ability to add exceptions as well. So if there's any time off that's coming up, especially this time of year when there are so many holidays coming up, they have the ability to enter in their exceptions as well. So Tyson is, he has a list of clients that he works with. And so we absolutely need to talk about the Instructor Redemption experience. We know that many of you are using that. In fact, I was just looking yesterday, many of you are using that right now during this season of maybe having limited facility access, or even in a season of making sure that you are providing services maybe outdoors. So if you have limited resources, or if your state is mandating that you set up some of your services to where you can meet with members outdoors, the Instructor Redemption tool is a great option. So you can have your instructors use this portal to be able to communicate directly with their clients and to redeem packages maybe offsite. So I'm going to display my screen here in a moment and talk about how this affects that experience in Instructor Redemption. If you have never seen the Instructor Redemption tool, no worries. This is something we have a user guide on. It's available to all associations. You do not have to have scheduling to use Instructor Redemption. As I mentioned earlier, sometimes it's really helpful to see this the way that your instructors are likely seeing it, which is typically on a mobile device. So let me use that trick again to go down to this mobile view. So Tyson is logged in. He has the ability to see only this and nothing else in Daxko Operation. So it's really dedicated to him being a personal trainer. And he's able to see anyone with appointments today. Now, he could just select all, and then he could see all of those trainees that he works with, but he could limit this to just appointments for today. And he can then select the individual registrant that maybe has just finished a session with him. So maybe it's Bill. He just finished a session. It was at 2 o'clock. We can see in this appointment drop down that we can see the date and time. If you do not use Daxko scheduling yet, no worries. This is just going to allow you to continue to redeem. It's not going to have appointment times, of course, until you add that scheduling option. So now we'll go ahead and redeem. The great thing about this is that Tyson is going to be able to get confirmation from Bill that this session has been redeemed, and Bill can sign off on it. That's really important, just to make sure that if there's any question in the future, we have a signature to record that that session was delivered. And we see that now there's 5 of 6 sessions remaining. So Bill knows that he still has more that he can book. So that redemption tool will continue to work with just those minor changes now that we have this scheduling option available. So that's a great way for you to continue to use Instructor Redemption. You can go back to that same list of registrants and then continue to go through and see those appointments that are available and redeem those for your current day, and make sure that you, as an instructor, in this case Tyson, that Tyson knows who all he has appointments with today, and make sure that he can redeem those, or maybe someone's running late, he can quickly contact them via email or phone number. So Instructor Redemption is a great tool if you're not already using it. And again, there's a full user guide on it. So you can reach out to support@daxko.com, or you can look at the product blog. Okay, so that's a little bit about Tyson in the Instructor Redemption tool. Let's also talk about what this looks like when you're setting up programs. So if you are currently setting up programs, maybe you're a director, and so your responsibility is to go in and set up all of the appointments, or all of the schedules for all of your instructors that want to be available for appointments. Maybe it's also your responsibility to set up program packages to make sure that you are entering in all of the appropriate settings for when you want something to be schedulable. So I'm going to log back in and we'll take a look. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about Kimberly. Kimberly is one of our managers for our personal trainers. So she oversees everything to do with personal training, whether it's for active older adults or more of those elite athletes, or maybe some of that beginner personal training. She does not oversee something like private swim, but there's probably directors over those offerings as well that would take these similar actions. In programs, if we navigate to manage programs, I'm going to use this personal training example again. And let's take a look at elite personal training. So I'll edit that existing session. Whether we're adding this as new or we're editing an existing session, we're going to have this new step, this new option for all program package programs. So this option is called appointments. And by default, it's going to say no as schedulable. But if you are ready to offer scheduling, whether it's to staff or members, you can select yes. I've already selected several options here, so you can see how this would look when it's set up. I've already picked instructors and their schedules are available. We make sure to flag that so you don't get in a situation where, Jenny is one of our trainers for this offering, but her schedule isn't set up. So we want to make sure to flag that. That message would be in red to call it out if we need to go get Jenny's schedule set up. We also have the ability to choose if scheduling is available in-house and online. And I specifically want to call this out. And it's because I've talked to so many of you, and I know that there's at least one association logged in online, but probably more. You are in good company. Do not feel singled out in any way. You are probably doing everything on paper right now. And that's okay. That is consistent. We hear that from associations of all sizes in all different locations across the country. It is really hard to find a good cohesive scheduling system. And a lot of times having a separate system requires double entry. And sometimes it's just been easier for all of you to say, you know what, we'll just do it on paper. And you're probably thinking, how am I going to make the leap from our paper system that we have now, or maybe something like a shared calendar that you have? How am I going to make that leap to like letting a member choose their own time online? That's a long way to jump from our current process. Please have no fear. We specifically built this, keeping associations like yours in mind because it was so common in our research. You have the ability to just start out by allowing scheduling in-house. So you could roll this out for in-house scheduling and members would not see anything. So it would be seamless for them. They're not going to see anything online. But your staff can move from that paper solution where you were working into Daxko Operations. So now they're doing all of the scheduling right here within Daxko Operations in a cohesive experience. And then once you feel comfortable with that, you can take that next step to make this available to members online. So I know that's been a major fear that so many of you have said. You've said we would love for our members to be able to book this themselves. Most of our competitors allow them to book themselves, but we just aren't there yet. We are going to make sure you can just do this in-house and kind of stair step your way to that experience for your members as really the ultimate goal. So that's what it would look like here for appointments. Also, if we go back to our programs guide, just like we offer today, you can select a program package offering and you can create a roster. So you have the ability to go to the roster and see everyone that has made a purchase and redeem them directly from here. So while Instructor Redemption is great for on the floor use, sometimes a trainer might forget to redeem a session, or your process might be that the manager on duty actually redeems these items. So we will let you continue to do that process. The only change is for those that are using Daxko scheduling, you have the added benefit of being able to see all of the appointments here and to cancel or edit those appointments directly from the roster without having to maybe jump off into the membership information page. So you can redeem those. Maybe while you're redeeming someone, they say, let me also go ahead and cancel my next appointment or reschedule my next appointment. All of that can be done directly here. Okay, we're getting toward the home stretch. We did get one question around how can you see the roster for packages with registration closed? You can set your filters to show past program dates, and then you can see maybe something that is no longer available for registration. Also within a program that's still open for registration, but someone has already completed using all of the sessions in their package, they'll still show on this roster. They'll just have a status of complete. So I'm not sure which of those questions you're asking, but you can do both of those items. Okay, Let's take a look at, this is actually one that we really are hoping for some great feedback from all of you on how you would use this. And that's specifically the calendar option. So of course, I only have a few instructors set up with schedules in this training environment, but let's take a look at what it looks like. We have two options. We have one that's called calendar and one that's called resource calendar. So let's talk about how we would use each of those. We'll go ahead and open the calendar. So you'll notice that the calendar is very similar to what you would see really across all of your staff members. If you're the manager on duty or working at the Welcome Center and you need to see some of that basic information of, hey, I don't want to get surprised when someone comes up and says, hey, my name is Lane, I'm here to see Tyson. I can quickly know, oh, it's for personal training, and bounce through this calendar. We can look at this in a week view, or look at it as a month as well, which is really helpful. We also have the ability to look at it by category. These categories will never be member facing. Now, you might choose to call your tags the exact same thing. So, personal training, for example, that's probably one of your existing tags. But these categories are going to be for internal use and actually is helping the Daxko team so that we can collect data and make this experience really awesome in the future. But it is color coded by these categories. So, each of these categories has a color assigned. So, these will stand out on the calendar for all of you. You can also hide those filters, or you could look at it by a specific staff member if you needed to whittle this down to just looking at one staff member. Maybe you're wanting to look at your own schedule. You can filter this by your name. The resource calendar, let me open that up. The resource calendar is really helpful if you are looking across, let me actually make this, if I want to see all of my staff members. So maybe I am the director of personal training, I can select personal training and see all of my personal trainers and what their schedule looks like today. I can also look at it in this month view. So I can see, really how booked up we are over the course of this month as well. So it's really helpful to see that way. The expanded version just basically moves those resources into a vertical view where we can see everyone's schedule for a specific day, week, month. But we can see it by going through and looking by day at those individual resources. This calendar is so critical. We know it's going to be so important, especially with having scheduling now be fully integrated in Daxko operations. As we look towards the future, we're going to talk in just a moment about what's coming in the future and some of the things that we're researching. This calendar is going to become more and more important. And so we are anxiously awaiting feedback. We would love for all of you to practice with this some and test drive it in your training site and give us some feedback on, here's how I think we're going to use this calendar. And I think a lot of times I try to tell as many of you that I talk to on the phone, so sorry if I've already told you this before, but to reiterate, the most helpful thing for us is for you to tell us your real world stories. So for example, if I see this calendar and I say, hey, I actually want to see this in 4-hour blocks. If you were to tell us that about the 4-hour blocks, we're still missing a little bit of the essential need for why it needs to be in 4-hour blocks. That's just the first example I thought of. But if you instead tell us the way that we are currently working is to have an individual staff person assigned to a member, and they do that for 4 hours at a time, and we do not have a need right now for 30 minutes. Can we see it in 4-hour blocks? And you give us some of that backstory that really helps us as a team create our testing cases. Once our developers work so hard to make it a reality, then we can say, okay, I remember talking to Joe, and Joe told me this story, and let me go test that and see if it works like I expect. So when you're offering us feedback, please tell us as much about the real world stories. Tell us your instructors' names, or tell us about how your organization chart works. All of that is such helpful detail for us. So we would love to know all of those individual stories so we can make this calendar really awesome. There are some really neat things that we can do. We want to make sure we do the things that are most helpful to all of you. Okay, let's take a break for just a second. Let me take a look through all of these questions, and then I'll be right back to make sure we don't have any that still need to be answered. Okay, we got a question around partial payments. We do not allow partial payments online. We do allow partial payments in-house. So if someone is unable to pay their full balance for some reason, then absolutely they can purchase something that's $1,000 and pay 500, but it is going to show as a receivable for today. So you can do that in-house only, but we do not allow it online. We covered the calendar, so I think that got to most of those questions. This experience is built mobile first, but not in the mobile app. So this is, someone can still begin from the mobile app like they do today to purchase any programs. So they can do that process. That process is actually going to take them into this experience that we saw here. It'll feel very seamless for them, but it is built mobile first, and it is part of the Daxko Operations online tools, not something that is built specifically through the mobile app. It's built in Daxko Operations. Let's see, deferred revenue. It would be difficult. So that has not changed with the release of scheduling. So scheduling does not affect the financial piece of this at all. It works the way it always has for program packages. If you're brand new to program packages, I would encourage you to use that user guide. We allow, when an association launches, we allow several options about how someone builds up their financial settings and essentially how they're going to do their accounting in Daxko Operations, and it depends. So not quite as easy of an answer, but our support team would be happy to walk you through that if you have any questions on it. Okay, let's talk a little bit about what's coming soon. We did get a question around, is there a staff app option? So the Instructor Redemption piece is what staff members would use. And someone mentioned specifically, would they be able to schedule through Instructor Redemption? So the scheduling actually happens here in Daxko Operations currently, but that is something that we are looking into, is how can we make it easy for maybe an instructor that's on the floor, they just delivered a session, they redeem it, and then the client that they're working with might say, do you have any openings next Thursday? Making that a really quick process. So that's something that we're currently researching. It's great to know that that is a need. So let's talk a little bit about what's coming soon. And I'm just going to stop sharing my screen so that that's not distracting. So we do have several big plans coming soon. I already mentioned semi-private or multiple bookings. So let's say that Caleb is one of our personal trainers, and he does these semi-private group sessions where 3 or 4 people can buy their packages separately, but they can book with Caleb next Monday at 3 p.m. They can all book. So he actually doesn't just have one time slot, he has 3 time slots, or that same time slot available for 3 different people. That's something we're currently researching and are planning to start looking at specifically very soon, probably before the end of the year. So if that's a high need for all of you, you essentially have semi-private or group lessons, we would love to know more. You can please just reach out to us. You can do that directly from the Help Center, where you can submit a product idea and just let us know that this is a need. We would love to help. Someone's already sent us over a Slack. We will make sure to keep your name. We'll be reaching out to you soon. So thanks for letting us know that. We would love to talk specifically with you, so we make sure that we build that solution in the way that it's most helpful. Also, room reservations. So today we've been talking about program packages, which is typically personal training, private swim, sports lessons. You might offer a massage. All of those items are typically what you sell as a program package, but you might also have things like tennis court reservations or racquetball court reservations. You might also have like a birthday party room that needs to be booked. All of those things would be really important for the association. And you can go back to thinking about that big calendar that we were showing. It's this giant calendar where you can see all these things going on. One day we would hope that that would show you all of those things. So I could see a personal trainer schedule, but I could also see the schedule for the racquetball court, and really have a one-stop place to see what all is going on in our facility today so that we can best serve our members. So that's also something that's in the works. We would love to hear feedback on. And then several of you brought it up. So I'll be reaching out to you very soon because we need some help with research. I'll let you get through Thanksgiving, but probably in December, you'll get an email from me. We know that we were just in a season where I think we were already trending this way, but then 2020 happened and it made it even more important of making sure that we have reliable recurring revenue. And a great way to do that is that more and more people don't just want to have their membership, they also want to have an add on to their membership for something like personal training. So every month I pay $82 for my family membership, but I also pay $67 for one session a week with personal training. Or I pay $67 for 8 sessions in that given month that I'm able to schedule for personal training. And so, really, I'm automatically drafting every month, just like I do for my membership. I'm drafting that same time for this additional personal training option. So, I'm not actually going in to go through the purchase process every month, but I am going into my online account to book all of my sessions that I have available through my monthly draft. This is something that we have seen several associations move toward, but we do not have a comprehensive list. And what we're trying to do is find like a master list of those of you who really want to have that functionality in Daxko operations, and scheduling will be key to that. So if that is you, please send us over a message now. You can say, yes, we are wanting to look at ways of making personal training be built onto membership. It's not just personal training, right? It could be massage, it could be um, your private swim lessons, or even sports lessons where maybe you offer a specific skill like pitching for baseball, and you have someone that's a specialist for that, and it's more of a recurring revenue model. Thank you. I can see so many of you reaching out, so please reach out. I think that this is something that could be really, really helpful, even if you're not already using that, but that sounds appealing to you, or maybe you've talked about it some internally as a team. We are actively researching that now to make sure that we understand the need so that we can provide a really awesome solution there, make it very seamless. Okay, I think I've gone through as much as possible. I know we've taken a few breaks for questions, but let me look back over the list. And I apologize. After every single one of these webinars, I will find a question that I missed. And so I'm really sorry if I don't see that. Yes, Instructor Redemption is only available for your trainers. That is controlled by permission. So if you pull the user guide for Instructor Redemption, you will see the permissions that will allow someone to use that tool. And you are able to only redeem if you have appropriate permissions. For sections of the pool, you might actually want to look at our area reservations that are available. If you have like a certain section and so many people can be in that section at a specific time, some of that could be done through facility reservations, which we're offering to all associations with beta access in the live site right now. So you might want to look at that solution. But also, if you had, when we look at that semi-private example I mentioned for personal training, I believe that would be a very similar scenario to I have only 4 people can be in this section of the pool. And so those people can book with the lifeguard that's assigned over that lane or section of the pool. So I think that would solve that as well. But I'll add you to the list as we start to talk about semi-private so that I can reach out to you and ask more questions. I love to ask questions. For those of you that have been on calls with me, you know that. Lots of questions. Okay, great. I'm so glad to know so many of you are interested in that kind of recurring draft model. I think it's a really strong model, actually. I think it will work really, really well. So if you're not already talking about that, it might be an interesting conversation. We want to make sure that if you do move that way, that it's not a ton of back office work, right? None of us want that or have time for it right now. We would love to make sure that it's really seamless. Okay, great. I think I got to as many of these as possible. If I did not get to it, we will look through the questions after the webinar and make sure that we reach out to you if there was something pressing that we did not get to. So I apologize if I skipped over anything. I know we have several things in the chat as well. So we'll make a list of all of you who are interested in the different options that we offer. We're really excited about this. If you have not already talked to your account executive about scheduling, you can always reach out to them directly. If you are not sure who your account executive is, you can just email sales@daxko.com and they'll be able to get started on that conversation. Scheduling is incredible. We're super excited about the orientations piece and also schedule a visit, but scheduling program packages has just been something we've been working on for quite some time. So it's really exciting to be able to show it off here. Um, and going into the Thanksgiving week, just know we're so thankful for you. It has been a really, really hard year, and just want all of you to know, like, we are daily inspired by how you are serving your community, even against all the odds that you face. And so we're just cheering you on, and ever so thankful for you. So please just know that we hope that you have a great Thanksgiving. We will send out this recording. Allison, anything that we need to mention specifically for sending out the recording? We'll make sure that we get that available and post it, but didn't know if you had anything you wanted to wrap up with, Allison. Okay. I
Hey,
think we're all good.
Becky, Allison's mute button's not working today.
Oh,
So
sorry, Allison. So Allison, just we will make sure to get that recording out to all of you. If you've registered, you'll for sure get it in a follow-up email. We'll also make it available in the Help Center, and we will make it available if we get to post that as on our product blog as well. We'll be mentioning that as well. This goes fully live for the associations that are already using